Welcome back to the RV Rundown. I'm your host, Barry, and today we're checking out the all-new 2025 Thor Motor Coach Scope 18G. Here inside the Scope 18G, we have a relatively decent sized cabin. I say that because at 6'3", I can stand up in here, especially if I'm in the hatch area that leads up to the sky bunk. But when I step just forward a little bit, my head does kind of scrape. I do have to duck down just a little bit. But we've got a lot going on here given the space inside. You can see that I'm standing in the front area right across from the sliding door where we have our kitchen, a kitchenette really. We have a 2-burner stove that's up under this glass cooktop. That just provides us with some more prep space. Again, hiding under the sink, we have that cover that provides that prep space. We've got a stainless steel sink down here with that nice high faucet so that we can wash out our pots and pans when we're done cooking. Up high, we have a microwave, and then down here, down a little bit low, you'll find a 12-volt refrigerator. This is a decent size for a van, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to storage, dry goods, your chips and things like that, they've done the best they can, given that it's a van. We've got cabinets up high on the left and the right. I think these are neat. They flip up and out. They have a very high gloss, kind of European style to them is the way that I would describe them. And all of our hardware here is some nice silver. We've got the drawers that kind of lock and hold into place. You really do have to give them a little pull to get them to open, which is nice because when you're rolling down the road, that's not going to just automatically swing open on its own. So the kitchen is fairly functional. And like I said, if you're tall, you can stand right here in the sky bunk area and you have full access to it. Adding to the space inside that you would consider to be kind of communal living space, we have the front cab with the 2 captain's chairs that can spin around and face the main cabin. So they don't have to face forward. In the driving position when you're parked, they can be used to kind of sit up, converse, maybe play a board game, something along those lines. As we push back, we end up seeing that we have kind of 2 sofas here, and these both kind of lead out and make into a bed. I say kind of because we have a long bunk on this side, on the passenger side, and it could be used for a single person, or we could pull our, I'm going to call it the bed support, across, add some cushions back down, and suddenly we have almost a full bed running across the back. So I think that's pretty slick. When it comes to dining, board games, things like that, they have a cool little table addition. Now this table, it attaches to a little block, I'll call it, that's up underneath, and it can move around. It can go left, right, side to side. You can put it directly on the base. There's a bunch of different ways that you could potentially set this up, or you could take it off completely and store it out of the way. So I think that's kind of a neat solution to a dinette / gaming spot, or even a workbench if you needed it to be. Now, what I didn't talk about when I mentioned the beds and the sofas is that on both sides, we have seatbelts. So we can seat legally 4 people in here between the 2 up front and the 2 in the back. That's pretty nice. And up high, notice that all of our lights are the LED puck light style lights, and the ceiling is soft touch. So it's padded, it's vinyl. It doesn't hurt your head if you are tall like me and you hit it. Additionally, we have some molded storage built into the wall with some little bungee retainers. Now they were thinking, they put in USB ports over here, so if you want to charge your phone or something, you can kind of stash it right there to the side. That's pretty slick in my opinion. In the very, very, very back, we have the bathroom. Now this was split off from the main cab by these two sliding doors that close up. Now, I want to open up the back and talk more about the bathroom, mostly because it gives me a little more space to do so. Again, 6'3", this is a squeeze for me to be in here. I'm definitely bent over to a large degree. So stepping down, I can talk about it a little more comfortably. This bathroom is a wet bath, which means it's all in one. We have a cassette toilet down low, and this has accessibility to dump via opening the back door. So there's not a compartment that comes off of the side of the van like we see a lot of times. There is a curtain that pulls around on a track that helps you redirect water into the draining basin down low. There's a padded mat in here right now. Lifting it reveals the fiberglass subfloor, as well as that drain that's up underneath it. Up high, we do have a medicine cabinet that's got a magnetic closure. Ideally, that would hopefully keep a few things dry. And as far as washing your hands go, the sink simply drops out and spins out like so. There's a small point down here where you can turn it on and off. It drains back into its own drain and automatically does so when you lift it up like that. For showering yourself off, we have a handheld wand up high that can be mounted into the side, or if you're a big guy like me and you've got lots of privacy, you could pull this out and literally just wand yourself off outside. We have storage that's in here, and then we've got a couple of drawers down low. Now, off the back of this, they definitely thought about you having this open and using it that way because they built some things into the doors and the surroundings that actually make a little bit of sense. There's a towel bar that's up high. We've got storage and molded compartments in both of our doors. We've even got 110 power out in the form of a GFCI plug-in here. We've got 12 volt. We've got our water pump switch, which we could quickly cut on. And the reason they did that is because they incorporated a spray port right here. So this little guy will plug straight into that. You can flip your water pump on if you don't have pressurized water at a city connection and pump straight off of your fresh tank to hose off bikes or dirty things, muddy boots, whatever it is you may have. And then down low, they used that molded plastic that just continues on and over to create kind of a little bit of a wet storage area. I think that's pretty smart, especially for weekend warriors and adventurers alike. There's even a little light switch back here that's going to quickly turn on a light just to give you, some sight in a dark space. Pretty neat. Let's pop back inside. Let's get the ladder out and check out the Sky Bunk. Now, they provide you with a ladder to get up into that Sky Bunk. Sky Bunks are something that I think a lot of people love. It reminds you of those old VW camper vans with the tent that was up on top. It's something, if you have kids, they're definitely going to think it's really cool. Now, the ladder for the Sky Bunk is aluminum. It's lightweight. It folds in half, and it has these cool little hooks that go straight up and kind of lock into place to keep the kids from knocking it off in the middle of the night or having some other issues. Once this is in place, it's easy to climb up there and get into the main bunk space. Now, that main bunk space can sleep one adult pretty comfortably, maybe two kids if they're small. It's not a huge space. You could squeeze two adults up there, but it would be tight. In terms of ventilation, you can certainly get some AC up in there from inside the cab by pointing a fan, kind of redirecting. But it also has the big tent tops up there too, so we can open it up and let a nice cross breeze through if it's really nice weather, if you're camping in the fall or the spring. So that's some things to consider. In terms of power options up there, there are a couple of reading lights. And right here on the very front, they've put in a couple of USB ports so that we can charge things up if necessary. There's a few small holding trays up there as well. So you have a place to put your phone and maybe like a drink of water or something. Retracting the Sky Bunk is fairly easy to do. There is this bungee retainer that helps pull the fabric together as it comes down. And we have these two fabric loop handles that we can grab onto and simply pull down. Now, with it completely closed up, there are a few safety measures in mind. We have these large clips that go back into themselves to make sure that it stays closed going down the road. And there's a little locking mechanism that's right here too that helps lock it and keep it shut and in place. Whether the sky bunk is in use or not, we have access to this multi-position skylight that's up high. It has a privacy shade that can completely block out the light, or this whole thing can open up to the outside and we can pull a mosquito net across to keep the bugs from coming in. So we can use it as a breeze. We can use it to let more light in the vehicle. It can be a couple of different things all at once. I think it's pretty slick. When it comes to privacy in the Scope at night, you want to have your lights on, you want to be in here, but you don't want your neighbors seeing in. Some of the windows have these nice big drop-down shades, which are pretty convenient, quite frankly. They go all the way into these boxed-in edges, so you're definitely not seeing through them. And then we have these fabric covers that Thor has developed for your other windows, your primary portions of the van that are not added after the fact. So your passenger and driver windows, your front windshield, and the main window on the sliding door are all going to be covered by these kind of fabric closures. Now they have magnets in them, so they attach directly to the frame. It's quick and easy to set up, and they provide pretty good coverage, really. You'd have to work hard to look in here at night. When it comes to the control panel for the RV section of the van, Thor has elected to use the BM Pro system. So this is where we're going to come to run awnings in and out, to check tank and battery levels. All of our basic things that we're trying to do with our RV are going to be accomplished from this panel. We've got a couple of nice little button style light switches to control all the different main cab light. And then up high, we have our inverter switch, which is right over the door. So if we do want to flip on an inverter, if we're in a situation where we're not going to run the generator, we're not plugged into shore power, but we need a little bit of a battery boost to charge some things, we can do that. And then our Truma hot water control is up there as well. So you've got three options to power it up, but what about powering it down? When you put it into storage, it does have a battery cutoff switch for the main house batteries. It's located right here under the passenger seat and quickly flips off with ease. As far as controlling the air conditioning goes, they have the thermostat on the wall back here by the bathroom. And if you wanted to put a TV in, all of your hookups for that are right here. You would have to put in a small flat screen mounted to the wall. Here on the patio side, we've got a couple of things going on. They put in this big awning. It's electric. It runs out at the touch of a button. And it has these arms that can do two things. They can connect back to the van as we have it set up right now, or they can be staked into the ground so they can be out and away from the van. Now these have adjustable height so that we can set a pitch to the awning or bring it up or down, just depending on how much privacy we want, how much of a slope we want on it, whatever you can think of right there. There is an LED light bar up top that's going to provide a little bit of light on the patio side. And down low, for the purposes of like grilling or doing whatever, there is a propane quick connect, which ties back into the main propane tank on board. So with the right fittings, you could run like a small gas grill out here. That's pretty neat. Additionally, we have a bug net in the main door that clips up pretty easily. It drops down, has zippers on both sides. So if you're parked somewhere really nice and you just want that breeze to roll through, you can make it happen without the bugs. You'll also find a 110 plug and a cable out on the patio side that'll allow you to hook up a TV or run another small appliance. At the back of the Scope, you'll find a Thule dual carrier bike rack, as well as a camera up high that's going to see down low that's incorporated back into the dash infotainment. Down low, we have a 2-inch receiver. It is wired with a 4-pin connector, so you could bring along like a small trailer with this. Thor did something kind of interesting. Nestled back in under that accessory hitch, you'll find your gray tank drain and pull. Now remember, the bathroom's right back here. It was a cassette toilet that we pull out to empty, and the gray tank's directly up under there. And it's set up right here at the rear. You can kind of see the generator in behind it. Tell me what you guys think about that positioning in the comments. How about that? On the driver's side, we got a few things going on. The exhaust for the generator is right down low behind the tire. We have kind of a safety light back here. Lights up this back corner should you need it. The exhaust from our water heater, as well as a sewer hose carrier down low. I think that's a nice addition. You don't have to put the hose inside the vehicle. You can keep it outside. And they've done a good job of clearly labeling everything. We've got our city fill, we've got our tank fill, we've got our main shoreline connection, as well as we've got our cable in, should a park offer that for you. When it comes to powering this, you may have heard me mention a few times that it does have a generator on board. That is the case. It's a little a Cummins Onan generator. It can power up everything on board, run the heat, run the AC, all your electronics. It's enough to take you off grid. But if you are somewhere where you have a full power hookup, this does take 30 amp service. It uses a standard shoreline connection, and that will also power up everything inside. If you can't use either of those for some reason, there's an inverter that's directly above the entrance over the sliding door that you can cut on, and you can use the house batteries to power up your 110 plugs so you can charge things, but it's not going to run an air conditioner, so that's out of the question. That brings us right back up to the driver door side, where we have a few things going on. One, this is going to be where we fuel up. This is the ProMaster chassis. It is a gas engine, and that all happens from right here. We can fuel up right by the driver door. I think that's really convenient, and seeing out of it is pretty easy as well. They've incorporated the large mirrors with the curved mirror for seeing in your blind spots, and a large adjustability range there too. Additionally, we saw that backup camera, and that's linked to the infotainment system inside, really just making it so you can park this thing just about anywhere. Speaking of that, let's hop in and give it a little test drive. Here in the cab of the ProMaster, we have, well, a standard ProMaster cab. If you've been in a modern Dodge ProMaster, this is very much across the board, very similar to what you'd expect out of a modern vehicle. We have loads of controls on the steering wheel to answer the phone, to set our cruise control, and, turning on lights. All that stuff happens the standard way you would think it does. Now, this does have push button start, so it is keyless in a sense. I like that ProMaster has gone and put in all these little storage trays up high and down low, so you can have all kinds of knickknacks kind of lying around at quick reach. And there's cup holders everywhere. There's 3 down low. There's one over here to my left. Technically, I think you could probably put a cup up here. I don't know, maybe. It just depends on if it's a Nalgene bottle or not. The point is that there's storage everywhere. We've got a rack up high that we can store some stuff in. It's lots of conveniences for both the passenger and the driver. There's a wireless charging dock. We've got our head unit with standard Bluetooth connections, and that infotainment system that's actually connected to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. When it comes to backing up, it's done pretty easily. When we put it in reverse, we get to see that high camera that we saw outside. It gives us nice guidelines there. And you can see it makes adjustments left and right as we back up to let you know where it's headed. And that camera being as high as it is definitely lets us see our surroundings as we back into them. Overall, I feel like this drives like any other normal van. I can see out of it with relative ease given our nice big mirrors that are electronically adjusted. And I can actually see through this out the back window from the rear view mirror. So I can tell if somebody's back behind me. I think the Scope 18G is really nice for folks who might be weekend warrior adventurers, tailgaters, or if you're looking for a rig that does a road trip really well. I think it's somewhere in that vicinity. It has a lot of really nice amenities. The Sky Bunk is super cool, especially if you've got little ones in your life. I think they'd really love it. It's a B van, so I expect it to be tight, but I'll throw out that warning. If you're over 6 foot like me, you definitely want to kind of get in there, climb around, feel it out first before you commit. So check it out for yourself in person at Southern RV. You can visit us online at southernrv.com. You can give us a call at 770-477-0552 with any questions. And please like, comment, subscribe, share. It really helps out our channel. But until next time, happy camping.